everyone, and welcome to Flock Talk, episode number 20. Today we're going to be talking about bringing it back. Should be a good time. So our episode today is about bringing it back. But first we got some hot topics to cover.
Hot topics.
Oh, he's back. Chris is back, Kathryn.
Hello, everybody.
Chris, tell us about your journey. Tell us about where you've been.
I went to Greece. I bought a house. I'm poor now, but I'm filled with sweet, sweet Greek fish.
Was the Greek fish sweet?
No, I mean, it tasted like fish, but it was good. It was good.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, welcome back. We should also, once again, thank Musty for stepping in while you were away. We talked about virtual reality, and it was a lot of fun. And you don't know anything about it, so...
I don't. I've only ever used one of those cardboard Google things, and I was like, this is fun. This is a fun thing.
Well, you gotta come over and try out our virtual reality machine sometime. We got the full machine. Kathryn, where can people check out Musty Hobbit if they want to see more of him that's not on this podcast?
He has a YouTube channel called Second Breakfast, and that's where you'll find him. And he's Musty Hobbit on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you want to actually talk right up at him.
Talk right up in his face.
Yeah, just talk right up in his face on Twitter.
Does he do the Snapchats?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's on Snapchat. So let's get into some hot topics. You know, Kathryn, let's start with Kathryn this time.
Oh,
What have you been up to? What have you been up to, Kathryn?
I have been listening to a couple of podcasts. I'm going to talk about two of them, and I'll talk about them fairly quickly because one of them just started, and it's on MaximumFun.org, and it's called Bubble. It's a scripted comedy podcast that is kind of like, I want to say it's a little bit maybe like sci-fi fantasy or something. It's set in a fictional place called Fairhaven, and the people in it, I think they're like monster hunters, and there's like goblins, and they hunt these goblin monsters or something.
Sounds like fantasy.
Yeah, and I'm only partway through the first episode, but it's pretty funny. It's got a lot of people I like. The main people, I think her name is Alison Becker. I think she was on maybe some of the later seasons of Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
she was... you were going to
was...
say she was on Becker.
No, I think she was like...
which would have been a coincidence.
I think she was a reporter or something, a newspaper reporter or something like that in later episodes. And it has a comedian...
Is it a comedian?
Is it Joan Rivers?
No, I've seen... I recognize her name. It's Cristela Alonso.
Oh, Cristela Alonso.
Do you know her?
No.
She has her own show called Cristela, so I think that's why I recognized her name. But the reason why I like it is I like a lot of the guest actors on it, and so Martin Starr's on the first episode, and I think Rob Hubel.
It sounds a little bit like Harmon Quest, which is...
Kyle Kinane, I think, and John Hodgman, even.
Ooh, those are great guests. But Harmon Quest is like a TV show where they play D&D live. Yeah. Is it similar to that?
No. It's
fully scripted.
Yeah, it's fully scripted. So it's just, it's a written show. It's more along the lines of, I think, Homecoming, which I think Chris has seen, right? Or, sorry, listened to, the podcast.
Homecoming.
With David Schwimmer and Catherine Keener.
Oh, right. I did listen to, like, the first episode of that.
It's kind of like that. It's more just like an audio play of some sort. But, yeah, it's interesting so far. But the other one that's a little bit more topical is called American Fiasco. And it's like a 12-part series, and it's all the episodes are out now. About...
And it just reads the news of the day, right?
No.
What a fiasco that has
Oh,
been.
my goodness. Now we're getting political.
No, we're not. It's actually about the U.S. World Cup team. It's hosted by...
cool.
That's a short podcast.
It's hosted by someone named, I think his name is Roger Beckett. Wow. Oh no, Roger Bennett, I think. Oh. And he's the host of some other like soccer podcast or something called Men in Blazers. Was really obsessed as a kid. He's British, and as a kid he was really obsessed with America, and he loved soccer, and he moved to the US, and then there was no soccer to be found. And it's kind of just about how like the rise and fall of the US World Cup team in like the 90s, like mid to late 90s, and the subtitle for the podcast is How Not to Win a World Cup.
They did everything wrong.
So, yeah, it was just like soccer was really not popular in the US.
Right.
And he talks to like some big soccer fans and this other guy who loves all other American sports except for soccer, but not soccer, and kind of talks to him about like why soccer wasn't that popular, and a lot of it is just that they weren't good at it, and they they have this, they can't be the best in the world and they're not interested kind of thing. Right. And there was a period in time where they really there was a kind of a resurgence, and they kind of started to get good and really believed that they could be like one of the top or win the World Cup even. And so it was sort of at the rise of this World Cup team to 1998 France to play in the World Cup there, and kind of how they were their own demise at that World Cup.
It sounds pretty interesting. And they were in the World Cup a couple times, not just that time. Last World Cup, I think
they were there. They're not there this year, but a lot of teams are not. It's just the podcast itself is only like 30-minute episodes, and there's only 12 episodes. It's not a huge time commitment, and it's just really well crafted.
And it's timely. You know, if you want to look like a smart person at your office and someone asks you about the World Cup, and then you say, oh man, it reminds me of the 1998 American team, and you go on and on about it was a fiasco, let me tell you, an American fiasco.
Yeah, it is more just the story of it. So the story itself is pretty compelling, like just what was going on at the time and what the players were going through and what the coaches were going through. And you don't need to know anything or care anything, I don't think, about soccer. Like, I think it's interesting, but maybe if you have like zero interest in sports at all, but it's just crafted really well. And I've been like super into it. I'm at the halfway point now. There is a Vox video called Why Americans Suck at Soccer, and it's like got in brackets the men, why the men's team sucks at soccer. But it also along the same vein goes through the entire history of American soccer and why the men's team generally is no good. No bueno. But you know what? They're better than the Canadian men's soccer team, so.
You know, soon we'll be able to see them face off against each other at the World Cup. Potentially.
In 2047.
No, when are we getting it? 2026.
2026. We'll all be old men plugged into our virtual reality systems.
I don't think Kathryn will be an old man. Tell me, Chris.
Yeah.
Have you been playing Radiant Historia? I'll just come out and say it.
I have been playing Radiant Historia, and I like it. It's an Atlas game. It is a JRPG. I am continually in search of the JRPG that will keep my attention long enough to finish it. And maybe this is the one. To be honest with you, I haven't got too far into it. I'm about 4 hours into it. But the cool mechanic of this one is that you're a time-traveling hero. So you start the game, hero, and then it turns out that you can go to different points of decisions that you have to make throughout the timeline. So you're going along and you get to a point where you have to either go with one guy or stay and go with another guy. And then when you go with one guy, you go on the branching storyline there, but you can go back and change the timeline and do things and then go down the other timeline. And all these timelines also have other decision points, all these other decision points that can lead to like the end of the game. So if you make a decision, it could be like this happened, and that's the end of the game. Go back to another decision point. Oh, darn it.
This was your idea.
I felt like, I was like, oh, are there any games that have that sort of sliding door mechanic, right? Like, you know the movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow?
Right.
This is it. And I was like, oh, this is a great idea. It's going to be my $1 million idea. We're going to make this game where you get to like change your mind and go back and see what that difference would make. But I guess there's already a game called Radiant Historia, and now I'm not going to get rich quick.
They did it. And the characters are good.
They're probably rich.
Yeah. You know, it's Atlas.
Rich.
They're filthy rich. They can make games still.
All right, then. Tell me more about this game that's making them money.
It's set in like a medieval world, which is basically a regular run-of-the-mill JRPG. Nothing has really struck out as like really great about the story yet, but I'm at the very early stage of it. The mechanic is cool. There's a few gripes with it in that like what you do in one timeline can affect the other timeline, but it didn't necessarily tell me that I had done it. So I was like looking around in a timeline for something that I needed, but I had already done the thing just by being in the timeline. So then when I just randomly went back to the other timeline, it was like, you've changed the timeline. And I was like, nah, you could have told me. But your stuff stays between timelines. So if you get like a good sword in one timeline, it'll go back through. Yeah, it's a good game.
It sounds like a good game. It sounds a little bit like a visual novel.
There are fights, and the fights are hard, and there are turn-based combat, and there's combos, as always in like Atlas games, turn-based fights with combos and building off of each other. The fights have been hard, but not too hard. I haven't really hit like a big boss yet that really strains what you've done with your party yet.
Now, you keep buying Atlas games, and then you put in a couple hours, and then you move on to the next Atlas game. And it's interesting because that's always my least favorite part of the RPG, is the huge cutscene in the beginning of the game.
The beginning is the worst. Why would you want to do that over and over again?
And yet, you're in this timeline where you keep playing the beginning of all of these games.
Beginnings are nice. It's the mushy middle that, like, ruins it for you.
It is a real slog, these JRPGs, right in the middle. Like, there's a part where in the middle of a JRPG, it feels like you're not doing anything. Like, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
So when I played a lot of World of Warcraft, I got really into the numbers behind these role-playing games. And now I'm constantly chasing a dragon, which is like the beginning feelings of a role-playing game without knowing how the role-playing game really works. And so beginnings are really fun, and then you get into like the grindy slog, and you're like, oh, I gotta raise that stat, and then I just end up feeling like I'm playing a spreadsheet. I don't know, the beginnings are fun, middles become spreadsheets. The game that doesn't become a spreadsheet is the game that like I'll play for a long time. Like, I got pretty far into Persona 5. That hasn't really started to feel that way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are you almost closing in on that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm like 4 castles in.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's like
40 hours.
Almost halfway. I'm working on a game myself. It's called Yakuza 6, where you play as Kusama Kiryu, and he's back, and he's got a baby.
Do you play it in the 6?
In the 6?
He is in the 6 when he plays it.
Meta.
That almost sounded like a Drake rap. Just say it 35 more times.
I have to auto-tune it.
You used to.
That was good. That was actually better than you. You're not even auto-tune. Yakuza 6. So I played Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1, got the hang of it, beat both those games. I said, why even bother with 2, 3, 4, and 5? Let's just go straight to 6. See where this thing ends up, and it ends up in Hiroshima.
Oh.
You're in Hiroshima, and you're in Tokyo as well. I think there's maybe another location. Maybe we're going to go back to Hiroshima. It's interesting. Kiryu finds a baby, and the mother of the baby is like his niece.
Oh.
And so this would make it his cousin.
Oh.
Grandniece?
Grand cousin?
Grand cousin.
The mother of the baby is his niece?
Unofficial niece.
His mother, twice removed.
Had a baby.
Okay. His niece had a baby.
But she's not really his niece. But we'll forget about that for a second. His niece had a baby. What is the baby to him?
It's his own mother.
If your niece has a baby,
that becomes your mother. Yes.
It loops back around.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
That's the old English style.
It is a grand niece.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's a grand niece.
Okay, so his grand nephew.
No, it's a grand niece.
Doesn't it become your grandfather?
I don't know what your family tree looks like. It sounds more like a shrub.
No, it's like a Mobius strip.
So, okay, where are we here? Where are we in this?
We're deep in the weeds.
This game's pretty good. It has a lot of twists and turns. The story is easy to follow.
Yeah.
One thing I can say right off the bat, easy to follow. You know how everyone's related to everyone else. And it's got tons of mini-games. There is the batting cage mini-game, which is way better in this game than it is in any of the other games.
Right.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, Kathryn.
Oh.
Because you were up all night playing that batting cage game.
Yeah, I didn't even play it in the Yakuza 0. I think I played a lot of the mini games, but for some reason the batting cage one didn't really interest me that much. But I watched you play the first challenges. I think there's like 3 beginner challenges and 3 intermediate challenges, and I was like, I can do that. You don't even have to get home runs, you just have to get hits and then score enough runs. And so I thought that it would only go to advanced after that. And so I was like, I'll finish the advanced ones and get all the rest of your baseball stats or whatever, your baseball achievements.
You gotta level up the baseball batting cage game.
It's like me leveling up fishing is the first thing I do in any game, right? So then there is an expert one, and it gets a lot harder, but I still, like, I stayed up to like 2 a.m. on Tuesday night or something like that, just hitting dingers.
Smashing them dingers right out of the park.
It was pretty fun. It's mostly just like a pattern memory and timing, right? So it was pretty fun. I also like the Mahjong, though.
We played a lot of Mahjong.
Because I know nothing about Mahjong, and then I was watching Myles, and he was getting his butt kicked. And I'm like, do you know how to play Mahjong? And he's like, no, and neither do I. So then I force him to read all the rules, which is like...
It was like
30 pages.
Yeah, the hands are like 19 pages, and the rules are 24 pages.
And I was like, read them all so that we know what we're doing.
Like, nobody's going to read this ever.
So we read the rules.
Kathryn made me read all the rules.
And then what happened right after we read the rules?
We crushed Mahjong.
We won. So
we can go to a Mahjong parlor in Chinatown right
now
and destroy.
No,
we can't.
Yeah. I can show up with $25,000.
No, you can't.
$25,000.
It was 25,000 yen.
Yeah. It's super complex, and I still don't understand it after reading all those rules.
We thought we figured it out, and then we're like, we did it! And, like, the next time we played, we're like, yeah, this is a great hand, it's gonna end the game, and then it didn't. And so we're like, now I have no clue. Like, I thought we won.
Why wouldn't that end the game?
I thought we won, and then we didn't win, and now we just are gonna lose because we don't know how to win anymore.
But the game is not only about mini games.
Oh, no.
There's a lot more to it.
Oh, a lot more to it.
A grandnephew.
Right.
What is it?
It's your father.
Your father that you're taking care of is now a baby.
Right.
Oh, it's a Benjamin Button situation.
Situation.
That's right.
The fighting mechanics are really good in the game. This one brings in the Korean Mafia. It brings in the Triad. It brings in all the major players in Asian Mafia coming together, throwing down kicks, punches, guns, swords, knives.
You shouldn't say too much about any other characters that are in it.
Because I don't know them.
Because you don't know them, and also it's like part 6, right? So it is meant to come after 2, 3, 4, and 5, and maybe that's like knowing that someone's still alive or something.
Absolutely,
could be a spoiler, but you don't know anyone's names or who they are.
There's the guy in the white suit and the gray suit.
Yeah, that sounds great. Just jumping in at number 6 and needing a lot of backstory, and
it's actually not that bad. I'm having a pretty good time with it. There's a lot more cutscenes than 0 and 1, but whatever. I'll get over it.
More cutscenes than 0 and 1.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much all cutscenes for the first half of the game. Making our way through it, and it's a lot of fun. Almost finished.
Why?
Almost finished the game.
Why are you doing this?
Now, over to our main topic, bringing it back.
Hello, I'm Eric from the Mighty Q-Dog channel. Here in the Q-Dog house, we accept only the highest level of quality, which is why we listen to the Polykill podcast. Twice a month, hosts Caleb and Scott break down the video game issues of the day, offering...
It's not the one with Caleb.
What?
It's not the one with Caleb and Scott.
It's not the one with Caleb?
Polykill has Travis and Jake.
Who?
Travis and Jake.
Who the Swayze are Travis and Jake? Yeah, okay, I got it. Yee-hoo! Listen to the Polykill podcast with hosts
Jake and Travis.
Get in on the
Topic of discussion.
With Polykill, you'll want to just
Beat it.
So today, our episode is going to be about bringing it back. What does that even mean? Bringing it back. What's that mean, Kathryn? What does that mean?
I don't know. This is your idea.
Bringing it back. We're going to bring back some franchises that the studios have forgotten about. Some original IPs that have just been collecting dust.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
It's true.
That's what we're doing.
And each of us has a pitch for a new installment of a certain franchise. And we're going to go through it. And you are going to pick the franchise or the pitch that you like the best. And the studio will make it into a game.
Finally, they're going to do it.
All you got to do is let us know which pitch is your favorite using the hashtag FlockTalk, and then the winner will get some sort of prize
Really?
between us three.
Yeah.
I don't really even have a pitch, so don't vote for me. Vote
You
for one
have
of these other
have
guys.
some time to think of one. I'll go first. Y'all ready? Ding ding ding! Doo doo doo! Doo 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 doo! Hey guys, me, it's Iron Mike. I'm gonna fight you coming up in this new installment of Mike Tyson's Punch Out! Huh? What do you think?
That's a good one.
My pitch is
This
a
is
brand
really
new.
terrible impression.
It's pretty close.
No, it's
though.
close.
I don't know if
That's close.
it's close if you met him and spoke to him in person.
If you've ever been
you would
near
know.
him.
If you smelled him,
Yeah, if you have been in the same smell area.
if you were within his aura, you would understand.
Okay.
It-
Okay, I guess it was. I guess it was spot on.
You sound so
I
downtrodden.
didn't realize I was sitting in this room with Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike, final boss. It's got a big comeback. Big comeback.
He's not relevant as a boxer anymore.
He has a
No,
face
no, no.
tattoo, scarier than ever.
Yeah, but you have to fight him as he is now, as the final boss.
And his pet tiger
Yes,
from The Hangover, which was a documentary.
he can randomly bite you, and if you press the right combo, he will solve a mystery for you.
Listen, I know you're jealous of my pitch, and that's why I'm trying to jump on the Mike Tyson's Punch Out bandwagon here. But people are going to vote for me from Mike Tyson's Punch Out because we're going to bring back Glass Joe, that bear guy from the second one, that Canadian guy.
Oh yeah.
Bring back Lil Mac. You got to bring back Doc. And we haven't had a Punch Out game since 2009, which was the release of the Wii Punch Out and Doc Brown's DLC that came along with it if you wanted to get it.
There wasn't
from-
any for the Wii U?
No Punch Out for the Wii U.
Aren't
And
they making one for Switch?
I don't think so. I think ARMS was going to be the boxing game for the Switch. I don't think that they had plans of doing multiple boxing games. So
I feel like they haven't given up on Punch Out, though. I think they know.
it's been almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. We do have Little Mac and Smash Brothers, and that's the closest thing that we're going to get to a Punch-Out, I think, in the foreseeable future. But I still think that there's a lot of area, a lot of room to explore. There's a lot of creative ways to make Punch-Out interesting, and I would love to pick up another one. Punch-Out is one of the few franchises where I like every single game in the franchise. All the Punch-Outs are great.
What's the third Punch-Out?
The third Punch-Out's the Wii one. Have you played Wii Punch-Out? It's pretty good.
I have not. Is it good?
Yeah, it's solid. It's very solid. Once you beat all of the boxers, you get to go back and play them again, but they've all fixed the thing that let you beat them the first time.
Oh.
So Glass Joe actually comes on with like headgear, so you can't punch him in the head. He's got like a helmet on. The people who have like tells before they're gonna punch you, they learn to like not give you those tells.
Okay.
Is there like a hippo guy? Who's that hippo guy?
King Hippo.
His pants fall down? That's
Yeah,
when
and
he-
then you punch him in the tummy where that little X is,
Yeah.
and
Does
he
he
keeps
wear
trying
a
to pull up his
belt?
pants, and he wears a belt.
Does he?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
his thing. He wears a belt when you play him again.
I figured out this game.
You knew.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool game, and I'd love to play another one on the Switch.
Did you play it physically with the motion controllers, or did you use
I
just
did for the
buttons?
first like 10 minutes when we bought it, and then you can turn the controller sideways like an NES controller and just play Punch Out the normal way, the way that God intended.
The way that Super God intended. Wait, how is yours any different than any of these other games?
Okay, so we'll bring Mike Tyson back. That's the big thing. The big
Yeah.
thing is Iron Mike, remember?
Oh, the big thing is that now it's easy to license him.
I know you felt like Iron Mike was in the room delivering the pitch himself,
Right.
but it was actually me, Myles.
So your big change here is that we're going to have Iron Mike, a salty Iron Mike,
Coming back, bringing it back.
both salty and a salty Iron Mike.
Listen, let's not get too deep into that. We're going to move on over to the next pitch. Who's going next?
Between episode 6 of Star Wars and between episode 7 of Star Wars, clearly we have a period of time during which things have happened now. There's a clearly set, delineated period of time that we can start to explore. During that time, the First Order is becoming the First Order, right? Obviously, the First Order has space pilots, and those space pilots are flying around in TIE fighters. That's right. I'm pitching TIE Fighter 2. TIE Fighter 2, where you have to go and be a guerrilla fighter against this big republic. It has the objectives, as in TIE Fighter. Each mission has objectives, but also the secret objectives. And maybe you're like trying to do something else, and along the way, there's the super secret stuff that's happening in the background. I don't know if you guys ever played TIE Fighter.
Didn't even know that was a game.
TIE Fighter's the best.
TIE fighters are the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
No, they're the good guys.
Wait,
Womp, 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 womp.
Which one are they? The good guys or the bad guys?
they're the bad
You
ones, aren't
know
they?
this.
Are they the bad ones? X-Wings are the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did the X-Wing mission.
And so they do the bad...
There was a game called TIE Fighter
What?
where you played as the bad guys.
That
Okay.
sounds amazing.
So, we don't know that much about Star Wars.
Oh,
The
guys.
Star Wars.
Guys, there's a game where you play as the bad guys, and it's the best one.
Are there, like, maybe not in video games or in the films, but is that period of time covered in, like, comic books or the cartoons?
It's covered in Rogue One.
No, Rogue One's before Episode 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, don't ask Miles. Miles knows less about the Star Wars stuff than I do.
So the end of TIE Fighter is the end of the Battle of Endor. I'm pretty sure it covers that period
We
of
can
time.
ask
Wait,
Fitnat.
are
Fitnat
they-
will tell us.
Are the Ewoks in the TIE Fighters?
Okay, so at the end of TIE Fighter, you go off with Grand Admiral Thrawn. And why this works is that Grand Admiral Thrawn is a character in Rebels now and is officially in the canon.
What?
So it would still work. You would still get to be under Grand Admiral Thrawn as he's doing his thing. And obviously, Grand Admiral Thrawn does not become a thing later on in the new whatever it is, whatever on Earth it's called. So you get to see all the political stuff happening while you're like
Oh.
doing a lowly TIE Fighter stuff.
I guess seeing the political stuff is fun.
Of course, the politics are the best part of Star Wars.
I know that that's true because Episode 1 is often celebrated for the trade negotiations in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Is that where all the people are in the...
No, it's these two guys, these
Oh.
two weird aliens on a spaceship making trade negotiations. That's how Episode 1 starts. Mwah, it's a real, like a spacey meatball.
Like, you can't even make fun of it because it's moderately racist. But my pitch is TIE Fighter 2. Miles didn't even know TIE Fighter was a thing. It's a retro game, by the way, so all of you should be losing your friggin' minds.
I'm gonna piggyback on this one. I'm gonna change my answer. TIE Fighter 2 VR mode.
Oh,
Boom.
he threw it down! Get it up, TIE Fighter 2!
All right, Kathryn.
This is the one. This is number 3.
Here we go. Here's the pitch. This
I
is it.
don't pitch games. I don't know. But
Y'all better be sitting down.
I have
for
a
this.
question. This might end up being my pitch then.
Hold on to your pants.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy
Yeah.
is just a remake.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So,
I
My
see where you're
pitch
going with this. I see where you're going.
is Crash Bandicoot 4, maybe? Is that 4? Is that... There were 3 of them on the...
On the PS1, but then there was like Crash Mind Over Matter, and then
oh dear.
But there hasn't been a new one in a really
Yeah,
long time.
yeah,
What
that's
was
right.
like,
Yeah.
right? There wasn't a new one for PS3 for sure.
No,
Definitely
yeah,
not.
no.
There's some for PS2 probably.
yeah, there were a couple.
But yeah, so I guess I never played the PS2 ones, but I like this idea of, like, I'm excited about the Spyro game. I think that's really cool. I'd rather also just have a new game, right? Like,
Right.
bring back that crazy doctor guy and make a new thing that Crash Bandicoot has to do. More boxes, more peaches for him to eat. All that stuff. More of those secret bonus levels. Those are the best things when you, like, jump somewhere and all of a sudden it turns into that, the side-scrolling part.
Oh, yeah.
Those are always the best. I really like discovering those and playing through them.
I love
But-
the way the perspective switches in Crash Bandicoot. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you'd be running from a boulder.
Oh, yeah.
sometimes you'd be
More
running
of those
towards-
Indiana Jones style levels where those are hard. Those are really hard.
But they're fun.
Because there's also one, I think there was one that was wasn't there one where you're like on a rhino or something? It's like a
A pig, aren't you?
something.
I think you ride a pig in Crash Bandicoot.
No, the girl rides a little warthog maybe. Anyway, it's been a while since I played them. We have the Insane Trilogy, but I just thought it would also have been really nice just to have a new Crash Bandicoot game with PS4 graphics and looking just as good. Like, I'm excited to play the Insane Trilogy, but I'd also be probably more excited to play a new Crash Bandicoot game. And I would say that for kind of a lot. Like, I mean, my pitch is for Crash Bandicoot, but I would also say it for, like, Medieval. I think they're just remastering Medieval, right? Or are they making a new one?
I don't know. I think they are remastering it.
I'd like them to make a new one. And I'd like them to make a new Spyro, but...
Would you rather they make new versions of these games, or PlayStation becomes backwards compatible and you can play the old games on your PlayStation?
Oh, and if it was done just like Xbox is doing it,
Yeah.
where they're upscaled, yeah, I would take that for sure. They don't need to remaster it. Like, Crash Bandicoot looks great, but if it just means that we'll get all of the games faster.
And we already own them.
But
Yeah.
PlayStation, people are pretty mad at them because they're not playing nicely. And
I have another pitch.
oh, here we go.
Oh,
This
you
is
ready?
turning
Do it.
into all kinds
It's a
of
battle
stuff.
royale.
Everyone remembers the game Wii Music, but
What?
everyone wishes that Wii Music had a bit more character, maybe a bit more role playing to it. Here's my pitch. You are in the 15th century Austria, and you are a middling composer. And then God's epitome of music is given to you in the form of a bumbling idiot. What do you do?
This is your Salieri pitch?
How do you deal with it? How do you... Wii Music, Salieri.
That is amazing, and I think it works even better as part one of the Milos Forman video game series.
Yeah. What's part 2 in the Milos Forman?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest could be on there.
Wii Music, Cuckoo Music, starring Danny DeVito.
Cuckoo music.
That's the DLC. I also, my pitch is a real one. Thank you very much.
This is the fifth pitch. Fifth pitch.
Fifth pitch. You know what game we haven't seen in a long time? Not since 2012?
Which game?
Twisted Metal.
Oh,
Twisted Metal!
That's a good
We
one.
haven't seen a new game like that in a very long time, and I think that with updated graphics of the PS4 Pro with the Xbox One X, it's not going to be on Xbox, but the PS4 Pro, I think it would look great if they made a new Twisted Metal, bring back Sweet Tooth, bring back live actors for the cutscenes.
It has to be more like Twisted Metal Black, though, where it has
Yes.
all, not the one where you can only play those 3 characters and then it had like live action videos for them.
Well, I'm literally asking for live action videos, but I want them to make the game like Twisted Metal 1, 2, and Black.
You liked those live action storylines, like those.
I feel like I need the live action storylines because in the original Twisted Metal 1,
Yes.
they initially wanted live action storylines, but they had filmed all of the full motion video stuff, and the acting was so bad they had to cut it all out.
Okay, so you think now that they could find better actors and
I
do
just
it
think
better?
that they should lean into how B-movie budget grindhouse the game is supposed to be, and still go ahead, hire a bunch of actors who can act, and still have like these B-movie grindhouse cutscenes.
Okay, so I don't want them to be as long as they were in that other one, and you could only play as 3. Like it only unlocks 3 different
No,
stories.
I want to play
I want
all
them
10
to-
characters.
I want them to release these like little mini grindhousey things, like they were released in Black.
Yeah.
Right, Black is the one that where if you played every character
Yeah.
with like,
You get an intro one, you get a mid one,
Yeah.
and you get an end one.
and I think it was like that with the other one. It's just that they were longer and you were only 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I want
10 to 20 characters.
Right.
I mean, you can. I'm not going to say you need to, but Smash Brothers is doing Ultimate and bringing every character that's ever been in Smash Brothers
yeah.
in a new game. And I know Twisted Metal isn't as popular as Smash Brothers, but you're pretty close. Maybe 1 or 2 people away from being Smash Brothers. And I think you could bring all the racers back again for Twisted Metal Battle Royale.
no.
It's a
more-
Battle Royale game!
No battle royale. There's already too much of it.
You gotta sell these somehow.
I was thinking about games that I wanted to come back, and I thought, well, for me, I should probably look at those, like all those Commodore 64 games I played as a little kid. But no, I don't think that.
Don't.
I love Impossible Mission, but it's perfect as this little 8-bit man in like a black leotard. There is a newer version, or like Impossible Mission 2 maybe, and the robots look different, and it's just like No, it doesn't work like that. It needs to just be, it was just great as like an 8-bit thing. So I'm not going to touch any of my...
Although, I just want to quickly jump in here. How would Impossible Mission VR be? Where you're just trying to solve puzzles in VR, but you're that same character.
No, because this is the thing. Like, looking for clues was literally just pushing up on the joystick, right? Like, there's just something very simple about that game and how it's played. And then the solving puzzles is literally, it's essentially just a jigsaw puzzle that you're putting together, but it's like layered, so you have to get the pieces to make sense layer upon layer. I don't know. I feel like once you try to like modernize a game like that, and then it just becomes too much, right?
It becomes a different game.
It becomes a different game, and like they'll change the mechanics. Those old retro games were simple because of limitations, but they're also good because of their limitations, I think.
No,
right?
there's
like,
only one Commodore 64 game that needs to come back.
California Games. I don't know. That's not.
Dream Home. Dream Home needs to make a reappearance. Dream Home 2, The Dreaming.
Dream Home 2, Nightmare Shack.
Nightmare, home of the nightmare. No, you have to make in Dream Home 2 Nightmare the home of the man from Nightmare, the board game, the VCR board game from the 90s.
Come closer, you maggot.
Don't blink.
That's pretty good.
Don't blink. Look at me. Look at my eyes.
And he doesn't blink.
Special effects.
He looks like Meatloaf, right? That's the guy kind of looks like Meatloaf.
He looks like some guy who's been at your job for way too
Yeah,
long.
like he's the guy who's been there for 25 years, but no one knows what he does. And he's just waiting.
And he comes in wearing like this weird cloak, and nobody ever mentions him.
No, and he's always wearing sandals, and he's got like the toe fungus thing going on, and you're like,
Nah.
oh, come on.
Like, oh no.
And he's gone for a few months, and you think, oh, maybe he's left forever.
But he's just on
And
stress
he
leave,
just comes back.
and you're like, how are you on stress leave? You don't do anything. Here's my other pitch. Here's my last pitch. Can I get a Need for Speed on the Switch, please? Can I get an actual racing game on the Switch that's not Mario Kart?
I bet
Diddy
you-
Kong Racing.
But like Need for Speed, where like you're getting away from the cops too. You're driving away from the cops, and you can pick up street races, and you have to constantly upgrade your car. That I would like that.
Maybe there'll be a GTA or something on there.
No, I want like a straight racing game.
Oh, okay, fine. That's
How
your
about an
pitch.
F-Zero? Would you be happy with an
No,
F-Zero?
I don't know.
You want a street racing game
Street
on the
racing.
Switch.
I want a street racing game with like RPG elements.
Maybe you
Oh,
need to
boy.
get Forza Horizon 4 and an Xbox One.
No, because I can't take my Xbox One with me anywhere.
On your commute.
Yeah, but Octopath Traveler is coming out soon, so maybe that'll just...
Yeah, that looks so good. Do you get the new demo? There was a new
There's a
playable
new
demo.
Yeah, you can play 3 hours of anybody.
Yeah, but I'm just not going to bother. I can wait. I can wait till it comes out.
Did you hear about the DLC for Octopath Traveler?
It's the game, because it's the full game.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any other pitches?
You had another pitch that you were getting to, and we cut you off.
No, I don't think so. I was just kind of looking at my list of, because this wasn't originally pitching games. It was just games that you want to see come
Yeah.
back. So I'm just going to like rapid fire some games that
Yeah.
I'd like to see come back.
Here we go. These are not eligible, right?
No, they're not eligible. These are just games I want to come
Only
back.
the 5 pitches are eligible.
6.
6? I don't know. One of them counts. I don't
Wait,
even remember.
the Amadeus Wii
You're
game?
counting Amadeus?
That's a Bring It Back franchise?
That's Wii Music. That's Wii Music.
That's not Wii
That's totally
Music.
Wii
That's
Music.
I honestly don't even know what Wii Music is.
do you make music in Wii Music?
Yeah, that's the whole point of
We
the
never
game.
had Wii Music.
I just see it at the Value Village. I never tried it.
You make, as Salieri, you make simple songs, and Mozart constantly...
Not your pitch. What actual Wii Music is.
Don't you use the Wiimote and, like, bang them around? I'm doing a thing with my hand, like I'm playing
Are you-
the drums. The bongos.
That's Rock Band.
Yeah, it's Rock Band. Why didn't you just make it Rock Band?
Because there's only one of you, and you have a deep-seated anger.
Okay.
And then at the end, you have to, like, recreate the wheelchair scene perfectly. I am your patron saint!
At a certain point, I think we just need to turn this into an Amadeus podcast.
Okay, Kathryn, rapid fire. SSX.
I just say SSX, specifically SSX Tricky. I did not like when it suddenly went real. I want them to be like goofy, cartoony characters. I want that big fat guy whose belly sticks out while he's snowboarding and his pants fall down. I want that. I want the Macy Gray character who wears like the giant fur coats. All of that stuff. I don't want them to wear like Billabong or no, I don't know what's a. That's
yeah,
not,
Billabong.
That sounds like that's surfing. Kelly Hansen.
Kelly Hansen.
Kelly. What's a Sun Ice?
Shaun White.
Under Armour.
Whatever they're wearing.
Nike.
I don't want it to look real. I don't want it to be on a real mountain. I want it to look like cartoony and fun and have like super fun music.
Okay, what's the next one?
Fusion Frenzy.
Oh,
Fusion Frenzy is a good one.
The Fusion Frenzy 2. And each of you is a different composer.
There is a Fusion Frenzy 2. We want a Fusion Frenzy 3.
Oh,
yeah, and it would be perfect for an like a digital-only Xbox game that's available on Games with Gold and Game Pass.
Oh,
one that I really want to come out. Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Overcooked 2 is coming out.
Yes, I know.
That would have been on all of our
We
lists.
could have just done the whole thing just on Overcooked 2.
About what we want it to be, how we want it to be. I watched them demo it at one of the Nintendo Game Day thingies or whatever.
Is it a lot different?
You can throw stuff, I think. You can't throw cut vegetables, but you can throw like uncut stuff to get, so that like those times when you're like, remember the level where the trucks separate? Yeah. I think like to get around that, like you'll be able to throw stuff, and like things where you're separated, like where the platforms move and suddenly two of you are trapped on one side and two are in the other, you'll be able to throw stuff across the way and stuff. But
and there's a Battle Royale mode.
No Battle Royale.
Finally. What we've all wanted.
I think that as a quick aside, I think when Overcooked 2 comes out, our episode should only be about Overcooked 2. We should do a special Overcooked 2 episode.
Nobody will want to listen to that.
Except for the developers of Overcooked 2.
Oh, maybe. They seem like really nice guys.
They seem like good people.
Two little British dudes. They seem super cool. But the one other game that I wanted is Bust a Groove. Which was Bust a Move, I think, in Japan, but over here we had to call it Bust a Groove because we called one of their other games Bust a Move. So we had to call this one Bust a Groove. I love that dancing game, that rhythm game. It gets really hard, and I think it's time that we had a new one for PlayStation 4.
I was going to pick Bust a Groove as my main pitch, but one, I wouldn't be able to do that amazing Mike Tyson impression, and two, I was worried that they would make the Bust a Groove game into more of the Project Diva.
I can't remember.
There's a current rhythm game on the PS4 called Project Diva and Hitsune Miku, but it's too much. It's too busy. There's too much going on the screen. You have to push X. You don't know when the X is coming. It's just all of a sudden it's on the right corner, it's on the left corner. It's behind the screen. You never know where it's coming from.
Nobody wants to play that.
Nobody wants to play that. Everybody wants to play Bust a Groove. They put the commands right in the middle of the screen. There's an attack.
Yeah, there's an attack, and then if you're doing better than your opponent, then the camera favors you over the other person.
There's the dodge for the attack.
There's the dodging. It's coming. Yep, it's so good. And then it also has the little like Tekken style. If you finish the arcade mode with one character, you unlock a little story in the original Bust a Groove, I think, or maybe Bust a Groove 2. There's some questionable storylines in there. Like that sailor guy his story is questionable.
One more pitch for things that need to come back.
I got two more pitches, so do you want to...
You
do
yours.
You guys go.
I'll do mine last.
And then you end it?
Yeah.
Okay. Clock Tower. Love Clock Tower.
Oh.
And they haven't made one since 2002, which was Clock Tower 3. There have been two spiritual successors, and there was a failed attempt to bring Clock Tower back on Kickstarter, but I would still love to play one. I wish they'd make it. I don't know if there's a lot of demand for it. Funny side note, there was actually going to be a Clock Tower movie made by the guy who directed Homeward Bound 2.
Oh, is that the one with the dog?
And Snakes on a Plane.
And the cat.
Oh, and the cat. Dogs and the cat.
And then the guy died. And then there was no word on the film ever again. And also, I would love to see a Katamari. New Katamari. Where's the new Katamari?
New Katamari.
Na, 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 na.
Oh, no. All right. That's why there isn't a new one. They don't want people singing those songs.
Chris, your final pitch.
My final pitch for things that need to come back, things I want to come back.
It better be a real pitch.
Flock Talk RPG.
Oh.
Oh.
Nobody wants that.
Chris wants that.
Oh, he's got the saddest face. I'm just kidding. Yeah. It was always planned to be kind of like as we can gather up the right resources to be able to make another one. And I know, like, you've been busy. You went away. You left the country.
Well, I couldn't have done it. There's been no time.
Yeah.
I don't have a kitchen.
We'll find the time once you have a kitchen because, you know, it's a long session. You need to eat.
I would always just record it from my kitchen. They were all recorded in kitchen.
He was just in the kitchen preparing chorizo constantly.
How do you get inspired if you're not cooking chorizo?
So that's it for our main topic. Let us know which pitch you like the most, as well as pitches of your own. Hashtag Flock Talk.
Yeah, what games do you want to see come back? We gotta have missed a bunch.
Yeah, but don't be long about it. Short pitches.
It's Twitter.
Short pitches.
Don't make use of all 280 characters.
If you're using all 280 characters, you're doing it wrong.
Pretend like it's back to 140.
And then send us your one.
Even shorter. Cole's notes.
One word pitches.
We're not going to restrict ourselves to one word because we got some odds and ends to cover.
Odds and ends.
Big news coming up. Our next episode is going to be live from Chicago. Not live, pre-recorded, and then...
Recorded in Chicago. Well, it recorded live in front of maybe a couple people.
6 people.
I think Travis will watch us. That's nice.
Both people who guested on our podcast will be watching us.
We're going to be doing some crazy, big, exciting things during that podcast. It'll be the best podcast ever.
Chris has confirmed he'll be dressing up as E-Honda for the event.
Yeah.
Do we even know if Chris is coming?
I'm not entirely sure. But it'll be pretty great.
If he comes, he will be dressed as E-Honda the entire week.
It'll be with or without Chris.
If I don't come, I will join by Skype.
That's on us, I guess.
I don't even know. It's like sometimes it's during the day on a Saturday. So
yeah, I couldn't possibly do that.
Kathryn, do you have any odds and ends?
Do you have any odds and ends, Kathryn?
You watched some stand-up comedy on Netflix recently, and it shook you. It just shook you.
Guys,
you got shook.
There's a really good special on Netflix called Nanette. It's a stand-up comedian, an Australian stand-up comedian named Hannah Gadsby, and it's just like, it's not even comedy. It is funny at times and poignant at times, but it is also extremely difficult, but very important, very powerful. And I have been individually imploring particular people, you should watch this. And I would explain that it is a very important hour of air quotes comedy. It's really just in this day, this age, this era that we live in, an important message that was a very brave thing, I think, for her to do. And
it's basically the signature for her career.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. It's just really good, and I want you to watch it, and I want it to change the world.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's what I'd like it to do.
Chris, odds and ends?
My odds and ends are, I got a new board game.
Ooh.
The new board game is called The Expanse board game, based on the TV show, made by WizKids, so all the components are a bit garbage.
Is it all just dice?
No, it's good. The game is Twilight Struggle, but with 2 to 4 players in space, and you're all kind of playing against each other, moving influence around. Short game, hour and a half long, lots of chance for betrayal, lots of chance for doing your thing and trying to make things happen. It's a really good game. It's really tight too, and it was one of the easier kind of Twilight Struggle-y games to learn without a whole bunch of fiddly mechanics.
How long did it take you to read the rules?
I watched a 25-minute video, and after that I had a rock-solid grasp of the game.
When you watched the 25-minute video, when you were finished watching that video, did you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment?
No!
You're what's wrong with this world.
You're what's wrong with you
what's
too.
wrong with this world. So that's it for Flock Talk this month. See you all in Chicago in July. For Kathryn and Chris, I'm Myles. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.